Who is the famous Roman orator who used to practice speaking with pebbles in his mouth? I don't remember his name. I always knew it till now. However, did he practice speaking with those pebbles in his mouth in front of others? Or did he just put pebbles in his mouth and practice speaking? You know, as if he had a tape recorder and he was tape recording himself, but he had no tape recorder. He was just speaking with pebbles in his mouth, and there was no one else around to hear him speaking. He would have been practicing talking with pebbles in his mouth, right? Well, did he do that, or did he always have someone there to witness that he was talking at that time? Well, I was just talking to practice talking, okay? I gotta practice talking, or what do they say? They say use it or lose it, right? If I sit around in silence because the world has ostracized me, what good is that going to do me if I fall out of the habit of being able to articulate my thoughts and feelings? It's going to be good that I just waste away like somebody who doesn't do any exercise, right? No physical exercise. What happens to you? It's not good to do that, right? So, well, on that point, let me say this. I wanted to be a basketball player when I was young, okay? That meant a lot of times I would go out to a basketball court and no one else was there, and I would practice alone. Practice shooting, practice dribbling, do all those kinds of things alone. I never thought like, oh, I can only play basketball if there's other people here to play with me. Otherwise, I can't do that. It's not sane. It wouldn't be sane to be here trying to perfect my jump shot or my dribbling skills as I drive to the basket and put the ball up in a layup shot. You can't do that alone. No, it's insane. Well, what about talking? Talking, you cannot practice talking unless you're talking to someone. Well, oh God. Anyway, I've been declared to be crazy, so I'm sensitive about these things, you know, and if I'm practicing talking ostracized as I am, I'm scared somebody's going to say, oh, he's talking to himself. Arrest that man, handcuff him, shoot him up with drugs. So he stops talking and he's right. Well, boy, anybody doesn't see the point I want to make here, let me get thousands of miles between you and me. Okay? For my safety, because I don't want to be near you. You don't get the point there. Well, anyway, I was practicing talking, okay, and I felt like my wife, who's deaf, right, she tends to be very silent, and let me make a point about that. My mother was silent like that too, and she developed dementia. Severe dementia, so that by the time she passed away, she could not remember anything. You'd be talking to her and you'd finish your sentence, and then she'd ask you what you just said. You repeat it, she didn't know. So she fell into complete dementia, and I would say one of the reasons may have been that she lived in silence. You never saw her practicing talking, ever. Okay, she lived in silence, and that's what happened. So I figure practicing talking is a good idea if you have no one to talk to. Just like you want to be a basketball player, you got no one to play basketball with. Play basketball at that court alone. Practice your jump shot, practice your dribbling, and so on. Okay, let me put this on pause. I'm watching Gone with the Wind again. We've been watching it over and over. And I was thinking to myself, a good exercise would be for me to try to imagine what Margaret Mitchell's actual life might have been like from watching this movie. So I would have to watch this movie very closely and say, from what I can see in this movie, I think that this, that, or the other thing might have happened in Margaret Mitchell's life. Now, I know nothing about Margaret Mitchell other than that she was a reporter. She worked in the news business. I imagine she was a reporter, but I'm not sure what she did in the news business. I don't think she was in the broadcast news business. I think she was in the print news business, but then again, I really don't know, okay? Also, I don't exactly know when this movie Gone with the Wind was made. Now, I have a DVD, and I could look at the DVD cover to see when the movie came out. I think that would be fair for me to check that, but at the same time, I'm thinking, when I took my comprehensive exam in American literature, I wasn't allowed to look things up like that during that comprehensive exam, and we were given selections of writing where we had to identify that selection in terms of when it was written, who wrote it, what period of American literature it exemplified, and so on, and why, okay? All you had there was the writing, nothing else. So, if I'm going to take a kind of exam here, I should not look to see when this movie came out. I should be able to watch the movie and say, from what I can see here, I think this movie was made around this or that time. Okay? And what I really want to do is, if I am going to do this, I'm not sure, it's kind of a challenge, try to imagine what Margaret Mitchell's actual life might have been like from what I can see in the symbolism she uses to express herself in this movie. Now, let's first of all say that Margaret Mitchell wrote the novel Gone with the Wind, and this is the movie version. So, in the study of literature, this kind of thing is important because often the makers of these movies, they take liberties that are changes from the original novel that significantly alter the meaning that the movie has. So, this often happens in the translation of written literature into film. It does often happen. It's rare, for example, that a play like Tennessee Williams' Streetcar Named Desire should be filmed the way it was, exactly according to the written script. This kind of thing is rare from what I've seen. So I don't know how faithful this movie is to the book. However, I can say long ago, around 1975 or before, I did read a book about the making of this movie. It's a big book, a big paperback book, about 600 pages at least, all about the producer, David Selznick, and everything he went through to make this movie. So I did read that book long ago, and that does tell me that this movie is likely to be very faithful to that written novel. At any rate, how accurate could I be in describing Margaret Mitchell's actual life from the symbolism she chooses to express herself in this movie. How close can I be? What I have to do is give my guess at what her life might have been like, and then check on her actual life and compare my guess with whatever's written about her and see if I'm accurate or not. Well, I'm not sure I want to do that right now, but I am thinking I might try to do that.